Hello and welcome back to the Pharmaverse Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pietrack. And if you're a leader or an aspiring leader in the pharmaceutical industry, you are in the right place because we interview the best, the brightest stars from all the many corners of the pharma universe. The Pharmaverse Podcast is powered by K. Bassman International, the leader in pharma and biotech recruiting, and we're also sponsored by Executive Biotech Advisors, a trusted consulting resource in biotech. Today's guest on the Pharmaverse is Jessicca Rege, PhD. She's the CEO of Seuss Clinicals, and they're pioneering the use of the Oncopig cancer model to advance preclinical oncology research. She brings a very strong background in pharmaceutical development and translational science. Jessicca is a well-regarded leader that drives innovation. She's a student of leadership. She's here to share her insights. So Jessicca, welcome to the Pharmaverse Podcast.
Oh, thanks, Michael.
Well, where I thought we should start is just you kind of giving us an overview of Seuss Clinicals. And it's Seuss Clinicals, not Seuss Clinicals. I have a teenage daughter who thinks everything I do is sus. But so Seuss Clinicals, tell us about it.
Sure. No, it's true. The sus world with these teenagers. So Seuss Clinicals is an innovative preclinical animal model company. So that's all based on the swine or the pig. Mm-hmm. And this is a model system because we actually have a genetic similarity to the pig as a human. And what we've done is the Oncopig that we have has mutations that are found in over 50% of the human tumors. So our tumors that we put into our pigs are basically recapitulate what's happening with a human tumor. And so what it does is allows researchers to actually move their most promising therapeutics or interventions into the clinic faster. So, and we're building a smaller version of this and other more innovative models within our pipeline, really to move the needle forward based on the swine models.
And you were telling me that the DNA between a human and a swine is very similar?
Yeah. So the pig genome was mapped by our co-founder, Larry Shook, our chief scientific officer. And what he found in mapping that genome is we're 98% similar to a pig.
But pig models, because of the close similarity to humans, it tells us more than what maybe a mouse model would, right?
Yeah. So because of that similarity and also because of the size, we're able to really recapitulate what's happening in the human body, where a mouse is only around a little over 60% similar from a genetic phenotype, but it doesn't basically break down drugs the same as humans do. And so when we typically use mice, particularly in cancer, we use them more for efficacy, where what's really great with the Oncopig is we have one model system where you can actually look at efficacy, safety, as well as metabolism all in one system, because
wow.
all of the developers usually use dogs and monkeys to look at metabolism and safety. And then we use the mice to really look at efficacy, because there's really no tumor model system in a monkey or a dog that we utilize.
It's a big topic, because I got to think this is coming under a lot of scrutiny with the FDA, because we had another person on the show, and he said, I've cured hundreds of mice of cancer. Yeah. So tell me what the FDA is thinking about this.
So recently the FDA came out, and as they're always trying to do is move the needle, right? How do we get things to patients quicker? And what they came out is telling us to use less animal models, but use more innovative tools. And those tools are something like organoids or AI or even organs on a chip. And so that's really what they're talking about moving us towards. And again, these are what we all should be using. We've all heard about AI. Mm-hmm. Organs on a chip are also great tools. Well, they're great tools when we know a lot more about the drugs or the targets. They're much harder to utilize them when it's a whole new target and we don't have any information, right?
Right.
And so that's where they're really moving the needle forward, and we want to use less animals. But it's not to get rid of animals, it's to use less animals. And again, that's why the Oncopig is kind of cool, because we have one animal that you can ask all of your questions, right? Your efficacy, your safety, your metabolism. That's what I get really excited about, because we are doing what the FDA wants us to do. And they're starting with monoclonal antibodies. And then, of course, with anything, they want to be able to utilize it beyond just monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah, and there's other technologies that are developing, like bioprinting, this organs on a chip. Deep down, I think every human feels bad that we have to use animal models.
Oh, yeah.
But there's really no replacement for it. Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair to say, and I'll give a example that I tell people. I've been doing cancer research for over 25 years, and we've gotten better and better drugs. Like now we have these great immuno-oncology agents. We have these very precise tools or targets. We even have these things called ADCs, antibody drug conjugates. So we have antibodies that are going to go directly to where the tumor is and then give this huge payload of a chemotherapy. So I always like to say, because people are saying, chemotherapy is going to go away. No, we've got smarter how we utilize chemotherapy in tools like ADCs. So no, I don't think animal models are ever going to go away. I think they're going to always be a great tool that we're going to have to utilize, particularly when we're looking at new innovative targets. And that's what we need to be doing to move the needle in cancer.
Now, give a quick example of how, like, some of the work you're doing with cancer researchers right now.
Sure. So, very recently we were working with a company that had a Y90 based compound. It was a small microsphere, so it's a really small particle, and they needed to get it into a pancreatic tumor. So we used our pancreatic tumor model. We put the tumors within our pig. They put their microspheres or injected their microspheres into the pigs. And what they were able to show is that it was safe to the pigs. They understood how the microspheres actually distributed within that tumor. And then they were able to show also that it debulked the tumor is the best way to describe it. So it shrunk that tumor.
Yeah.
All exactly those three questions. And now, they're excited that they're moving forward with this interventional therapy and being able to kind of move it into the clinic next with patients.
That's outstanding. Got to be really rewarding. I want to switch gears here because the Pharmaverse is a leadership podcast, and you have some really fascinating thoughts about leadership, which I can't wait for people to hear. In one word, it could be a compound word, but in one word, describe your leadership style.
Can I have two? I would say I'm disruptive and transformational.
Okay, we'll call it we'll blend the words. But so now define what that means.
So I've always been a disruptive leader. I don't go with the status quo. I mean, we're talking about I'm hanging with pigs now. So I don't believe just because you've done something X, Y, and Z that's the way to be. And that also doesn't bring innovation. So disruptive is why that is me, because I go against the status quo, if you think about it, if it's going to help those patients again. And then I think I'm transformative because I am always looking to motivate the teams to bring that innovation back to the table. And so that's why I say I'm not. It's funny. I'm basically everyone's biggest critic, but biggest cheerleader.
Well, is there a specific experience that kind of shows that in action, whether it's disruptive or transformational?
I was working at a very large pharma company, and it was a company that wanted to be in immuno-oncology because that was the big up-and-coming thing, but they didn't have any immuno-oncology targets. But we had a great pipeline that we can combine with immuno-oncology targets from other companies. And so I remember the chief medical officer was like, we need to get in this space. I need to be able to announce it to my board and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, well, I can design a trial and get it up and running within, give me 90 days. And he looks at me and he's like, there is no way anyone can start a trial in 90 days. And I'm like, well, I've done it. I've done it before. I can do it. And it was funny. He goes, okay, but you're going to have to do it differently than we've ever done it. And I said, well, that's what I'm really good at. And so long story short is everybody wanted to do like write the protocol, then write the informed consent, then build your database, then select your sites. Well, that's A followed by B and C and D, and that's the old way. That's what most people do. I said, no, let's do it all in parallel. At the same time I'm writing the protocol, we're going to write the informed consent. At the same time I'm writing the informed consent, we're going to build the database. So again, everybody didn't like that because it's like everybody's kind of always moving together in one step. But we did it. We were able to get this study started and be able to announce that we dosed our first patient with that combination approach. I pissed off a lot of people, but ultimately made the goal. And it's quite funny. I still giggled today. That became the poster child of how that company now does oncology, actually clinical trial work. It was funny. We actually made a poster out of it, and it was a great team. We were great and nimble, but it was quite fun at the time.
That's cool. The just completely reimagine the process. Disruptormational, maybe that'll be. That's the style.
There we go. That's the style, right?
Yeah.
Well, it led to innovation, and that's where that transformative nature of me. And then again, I think those people that I pissed off, now they're actually some of my biggest cheerleaders. So it's quite funny how it's a full circle.
Well, speaking full circle, I've been asking more and more people about when in their life that either they kind of identified themselves as a leader or when someone else identified them as a leader. Do you know when that point in time was in your life?
Well, I can tell you a funny story. Please. I got called into my boss's office, and he was like, well, I'm hiring you a coach. And I said, oh my God, I did disruption of the status quo too much. They're going to fire me now. And it was so funny because at the time I didn't know there were coaches to actually help leaders become better at what they do well and kind of hone in what they don't do well. So it's quite funny. So I guess that's my moment in time. I thought I was going to be fired, but I got a coach who I will say that 6 months that I spent with that coach really made me look through a completely different lens because I'm a scientist by training and I'm always black and white. And she really allowed me to hone in on my EQ skills rather than my IQ skills. And again, I mean, it's pretty much why I'm where I'm at today.
Do you find yourself either coaching others or setting them up with executive coaches?
I truly believe in executive coaches. The other thing is I truly believe in mentoring individuals because without all the mentors that I've had in my career, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I do think you have to do both.
And I know one of your mentors gave you a gift. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So still to this day, and I just ran into her at a big congress that
Oh,
we
wow.
have in oncology. And it's so funny. So yeah, after she was, mentoring with me for, I don't know, 6 months or so, came in the office one day and she brought me a bottle of wine because I like wine. And the label said Mentor. I still carry this
Ah,
bottle of wine with me everywhere. I'm never going to open it. Don't even know if it would taste good by now. But to me, it just shows me I made a difference in someone. And it's funny now I don't know, I think she's like an or no, I think she's a vice president or an executive director.
incredible.
And when I knew her, she was, just starting out in her career. So it's so nice to watch people that I mentored actually doing, well and even better than me.
I can just picture you moving and saying, okay, well, hey, we got to pack this bottle of wine. And they're like, what? Just drink it. No, we're packing it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, literally, it's right around the corner in my
Yeah,
house. It's what's showcased. It literally sits on the top of a shelf.
that's cool. Like in this drawer right down here, I have a stack of cards that candidates have sent me over the years thanking me. And
Oh,
you can't throw that away.
no. No.
Like,
I mean, it's going to go with you everywhere.
goes everywhere.
And then you're like, what do I do this? But yeah, I'm sure this bottle of wine is probably tastes terrible by now, but
No,
anyway,
wine gets better with age. I bet it tastes better now.
maybe, but I think you have to have certain wines mature better with age.
Yeah.
Others may not. I don't know enough about the Mentor wine. I just more happy with my label.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So, different challenges for different leaders. I'll tell you, my biggest challenge is holding others accountable because I'm non-confrontational.
Ah.
So it's a big thing. What's your biggest leadership challenge?
I think that one of the biggest leadership challenges that I've had is managing through change, especially like leadership changes, whether it's um, a peer leadership to me or even, I mean, well, now I'm a CEO, but, when I was more of a C-suite and I was reporting to a new CEO, it's really hard. It's hard because you've met the person or I've met the person maybe for 30 minutes during an interview, and now I have a new boss, and now the whole organization has a new boss. Um, and you have to prop them up because, right, you're the stabling force, but you're also in an unknown force, right? So to me, trying to stay calm through change is always the hardest, I think, as a leader.
What's some advice for someone who may have that same challenge? Any best practices?
What I always try to say is take a deep breath. If you don't know what to do now, there is no reason to scare anyone, right? You are supposed to be the calming force. So just say, I don't know. That's a good concern, but let me get back to you after I digest it a little. Because sometimes I think as leaders, we are supposed to, right, be able to react immediately and really, but it's also okay if you don't know. It's okay to say, that's a good point, but I'm just not sure. Let me get back to you because you never want to add more storm. You're supposed to be that calming force. I will also say you have to smile and you have to laugh. I think charismatic leaders are those leaders that I am always attracted to and want to work with because no one wants to work with a leader that doesn't smile or doesn't seem as if they're friendly, right? I'm not saying just because
Yeah.
I smile, I'm super friendly all the time, but I do think you have to smile and laugh. You have to just kind of, every day doesn't have to be a stressful day.
Yeah, you could either add to the stress or you could alleviate the stress, but the situation is the same. It's just what do you bring to the situation? That's good. Now, I ask this of every guest because a lot of our listeners are aspiring to be leaders. They're trying to figure out, what do I have to do? Well, how do I position myself? And so what advice would you give to someone who's trying to move into either a people management role or more of a leadership role?
My message would be go for it. Sometimes leaders are actually put in the position and they're not good leaders. I find the leaders that are the best leaders are the ones that want to be there because they want to grow and learn skill sets. So to me, go for it, but find your people. You need to find the people that when you're not sure, you can phone a friend.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I have 2 mentors that every time I'm having a bad day or don't get it, I can call them up and go through the challenge, and then they can almost calm me in my world. So they need to find their people and go for it, because that, I think, is so important. We need more and more leaders that really want to be leaders.
Great insights. I have a quick confession to make before we even wrap everything up, because we are running out of time here. So with your last name, Rege, I was going to be dressed up in dreads. I was going to have the sunglasses on. I was going to do the whole Bob Marley thing. And I just didn't get around to Amazon to order the stuff in time. But that was my intention. But I just think it's funny, it's Rege, not reggae. It's Seuss Clinicals, not Seuss Clinicals. And so I had to confess that.
No. It's so funny. My maiden name is Martin.
Yeah.
So I was Dr. Martin, so I could have been a shoe.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Rege, which at the time when I took on my ex's name, I was like, oh, everybody will want to take Dr. Rege's science course, not.
Yeah.
So, and then now, fast forward to, since you didn't get your reggae, I will tell you, and it's not sus. My son, I don't know if I told you this one.
No.
My son says what I do when people ask him, what does your mom do? He says, I'm a mutant pig farmer, which technically we have a transgenic pig, and we do breed our pigs, but I don't necessarily think I'm a mutant pig farmer, but it definitely gets a laugh, and he is so proud of him giving me that title, and talk about, side cocks or head shakes.
Yeah.
What does your mom do?
That's so funny.
So,
well, I just want to say thank you for being a guest on the Pharmaverse. I learned so much. Anybody who listens to this is going to learn a lot. And I know that it was a use of your time. So thank you so much for giving us your time. And we just all in the Pharmaverse want to thank you for your insights.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And let's hope that we're going to build more and more innovative models to help all those patients that we serve get those interventions or drugs quicker. So.
No question. Well, that concludes another episode of the Pharmaverse Podcast. We have many more exceptional leaders lined up for you, so please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single insight. But for now, that's a wrap. See you next time in the Pharmaverse.